Hey guys, welcome to the episode breakdown. Obvious spoilers here. So we'll go into episode 1, which is called Master and Apprentice. Yeah. We get a credits crawl, and I know this is nitpicky, but I don't know. It just seems a little awkward, that it's
fine.
not in the crawl. I know it's fine. I want to say it's fine, but it's just, and I know, and I'm like, God, I can already hear Star Wars fans are so picky about everything. It's like, no, it's not reading. It's just the way the crawl is. Anyways, sets it up, and then we got a great scene here where they claim they're Jedi showing up, and there's tension. It's interest. The captain thinks he's being clever. I'm gonna call their bluff. Motherfucker fucked it up because you don't. If they are, he's like, these aren't Jedi, so he wouldn't have let them on the ship. But the fact is, they are Jedi, but they're not the Jedi that you think they are. Because if he knew that they had fucking Jedi-like powers, he's not going to let them on the ship because they said, all right, you want to see my identification? I got my identification right here. Ah! I loved it. That was True Lies. You remember Arnold? You want to see my identification? I fucking love it. And then they go on to a badass scene where they just fucking the goddamn New Republic up. Why does the New Republic and Rebels always have to look stupid?
That's one of the things
they
that
get the white helmets and the blue suits.
Oh, I thought you were talking about like strategically, because it's like this is. I don't hate it. I know people are like we have to have the story happen, but it's like how many times are we going to watch the New Republic transport one of the most dangerous criminals and just be like, oh, we're going to let new people we don't know on our ship. It's an outdated thing. We're going to say that they're Jedis and we're going to let them steal Moff Gideon and then this lady and then we're not in hyperspace. We're just cruising along. It's like, can we have these people be like terminally incompetent, please?
It's overconfidence and it's done for drama's sake.
Yeah,
because if you want to do it the way Alex said, like, well, okay, let's rewrite it to make it better because we can.
They get attacked.
Okay, so it's like they claim they're Jedi. There are no Jedi left in the galaxy. Do not let them on board. Run their identification again. Their identification comes back negative. Okay. You do not have permission to come on board. In fact, prepare for surrender. Okay? Maybe something like that. And then that allows them, and then there's a full security detail, and they're already waiting for them. Written better? Or would you like that better?
Yeah, or we're just at the prison. They're like, hey,
they say, no, don't even get anywhere near our ship. We're not going to imprison you. You go your way, and I will go my way, right? Because the captain is hyper aware that there are evil Jedi dark assassins out there, even though, because he read the script prior, right? How could they do it? Oh, well, the Dark Jedi could be like, okay, full power to engines, and they just boom into the hangar anyway and come out. That would have been exciting as well.
Yeah.
We just fixed it for you. So ultimately, Alex is right. All right. Alex wants to see a motherfucking competent-ass motherfucking tactics 100%.
Well, what we loved about Andor was that the bad guys felt competent and terrifying. And I'm just tired of, like, the good guys feeling like they're children. And so that's like a thing that I think that most people want, right? Like you don't want to feel like that.
I agreed. I think we just gave you two ways that it could have been done better. But I want to make clear that I don't think that this particular method was that bad.
I'm not taking points off. I'm just pointing out.
Yeah.
So then we have, true to your word, Balin. It appears that they're actually mercenaries, and they will give their allegiance. They're not fanatics to Sith. They're not Jedi hunters. They're mercenaries. They have their own motivations, and they're well paid to break out these people. So then she tells them as they enter her prison that Ahsoka is the one. She's seeking the map. I have to do this and that. Boom, title screen, Ahsoka. Perfect. So a great opening to the series, starting on high marks with me. Now we go to a desert planet scene.
Oh, because we have to.
Amazing. Well done. This is temple ruins kind of stuff, kind of Indiana Jones. Not a lot of dialogue. She goes and she interacts with old technology. Me and Joe are like, hey, that looks like Fifth Element. I was like, at first I was like, oh, well, guess we got to go to a different temple because it fell apart and it's so old. But no, the ball is there. And she jumps out, and then there's robots waiting. And I was like, man, this was excellently written. Cinematography is fantastic. Little old Western showdown. Give us the map. Us. us, and I was like, oh, this is great. Boom, get into a fight. We get our first fight. Rightfully so, Ahsoka is kicking these robots' ass. They don't really stand a chance. She is at the height of her powers. This is a outcast Jedi that has gone up against Anakin and survived. That does not happen. She has skills. So she kicks ass. And then the robots realize we've lost. Self-destruct. Initiate self-destruct. So the robots, just little fucking balls come out of their chests. And she's like,
time to fucking run.
They start laughing. No, they don't laugh. And she starts running. Yeah. And god damn it, apparently Ahsoka never learned the Jedi run from Obi-Wan and motherfucking Qui-Gon Jinn, which was a mistake to show in The Phantom Menace because they've never been able to recover after that. And it was really only shown for half a second.
It was bad.
It was bad. They should have never done it. George fucked up right there because... Even in that same movie, it's like, I'm going to save you, Qui-Gon Jinn. Oh, I can't because I can't run fast enough because the doors are opening and closing randomly, and I could have just used my Jedi run that I showed that I know how to do.
5-minute cooldown, man.
It's more like let's just say it is a one-time use.
Once per long
life.
rest.
Yeah.
Once per long life.
Okay.
And Ahsoka apparently already used it. Anyways, we're just jabbing. I didn't take any points away or anything, because it's a cool ass effect. You got a nice huge explosion. Ship comes over and picks her up, and and she's like, "Hey, they have dialogue here purely to bring the audience up to speed. People don't talk to each other this way."
What happens if she would have just sliced the chest?
Well, that's just like nuclear. Missiles and stuff, you have to arm it in order to get. I mean, it's still going to do damage, but it's not going to do that kind of damage.
You start making like the made out of grenades, and so you can't use lightsaber at all. No thermal detonators all the time.
So she was basically like, where were you? And he was like, well, I was doing Jedi protocol so that she can say the Jedi are gone. It's just to bring the audience back to speed. They should know that by now, but whatever. Yeah. And she's like, watch my back. And they do another dialogue purely to set up what is going to happen in the series. He's like, yeah, well, I'm not a Jedi Padawan. Which is so awkward for him to say, but it's because, Ahsoka wants a Padawan and should have a Padawan and needs a Padawan. So she's going to have a subplot if she gets a
Next scene, we get the ceremony. He's like, no, Sabine.
Yeah,
He's
go
like,
ahead.
hey, there
Mr.
you go.
Krabs.
Yeah, I was like, we need a Padawan. Let's introduce Sabine. I was like, hey, that's going to be her, right? Yeah, it's going to be her.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is
No, well, first off, I really, really like this scene. I don't want to skip this scene because this is the stuff that I think that Rogue One Squadron would have worked so amazingly. I don't know what happened with Patty Jenkins behind the scenes. She lost the movie.
They watched Wonder Woman 2, and they're like,
Wonder Woman 84.
no.
No. Or she was so busy, or she wanted control. I don't know what the hell happened because I just love seeing the might of the rebellion and seeing, because we constantly are seeing Star Destroyers and Empire and the interior of those ships and the Empire's might. It's good to see the other side. And so we go to Home 1. She's like, T6 calling in, there's been an incident that the ship has, been attacked and explode, but you get to see the rebellion. You see in the background the different fucking things. We get a live action debut of the E-Wing, which is fucking cool as shit. I love the E-Wings. They basically fell off in the expanded universe, became non-canon. Luckily, the series has made them canon again. I'm such a nerd. I could talk about the E-Wing for a while, how that was intended to be the X-Wing replacement, but had issues with the turbo lasers and the way they were powered, because there was 3 of them. And then eventually, they brought the X-Wings back, and so they were in service at the same time. And eventually, the E-Wing dropped off because they got the X-Wings to be more advanced. And it looks like that's the kind of same thing that's happening here, because we've already seen by the sequel trilogy and everything Poe Dameron is driving an X-Wing. They're upgraded X-Wings. So E-Wings are just not going to be the replacement. They probably have little patrol duty. Maybe they're service craft. Maybe they're police type stuff. But anyways, went on a tangent there. Send to me to Ahsoka. There's one person that can decipher this map. And did you make a face, Alex?
I did.
Okay, go ahead.
So I was just Joe doesn't know art is a really big theme in Rebels, and so that's how they're kind of like tying in. And it may you look at the puzzle and you look at the thing and you're like, oh, that's what that is. And only one person in the galaxy, and it's like it's Hera trying to pull strings, and it's also reminding you like how much of the art was important. And so that's
Initially, I didn't like it. I would have made a face too. I even wrote, I don't agree that she's the best chance at reading that map.
a droid would have looked at it in half a second and gone like, that's what it is.
That's what initially I wrote, but then I remembered the 4 seasons of Rebels that you hadn't seen, and we'll get to it. That Ren is a genius level intellect. She does know how to make technology, and in fact, I think there was a plot line. She actually could have ended the war a little bit sooner in favor of the Rebels if she didn't have her own hang-ups to get through. So she is that genius level. So you can think of her like of a Tony Stark. So you're like, why would they just give it to this multicolored hair lady? Why they're making her so badass? It's like, bro, it's that's in her character. All right, so we're let's get back on track. So anyways, they talk about it.
Yeah.
They talk about the location to Thrawn.
Yeah,
And then
he's
say,
far
go
away.
ahead.
This is a map, but we don't have the key to open it. So they're like, there's only one way to do it, and then that's when we actually get the.
If he's alive, then maybe Ezra can be too.
Yeah.
And you have that. You plant that seed in Ahsoka's mind, and then she's like, I can get. You know who will definitely help out? Syndulla says is Sabine, essentially, because she wants Ezra back and has a connection to Ezra. So then we flip to the celebration on the planet.
Yeah.
Joe, what we got here?
Here we're
Clancy Brown.
Yeah.
Glad
I
to
was
see
like,
him.
I didn't know he was gonna be in this. This is pretty cool. He's like celebrating. He's like, we got a monument for Ezra, and they show him, and he's like, here to also, we came here to celebrate Sabine. It's like,
Sabine?
where is she? Sabine. He's like, oh, we
Sabine.
got the rebel.
And we got the rebel.
got
And
the
I can
top-
just see,
Yeah, I was like,
I
we
see
got the
this in
Top Gun.
animation, you know, and it works in animation.
I was thinking more of a Top Gun. Where he's like, oh,
Top
this
Gun.
is Maverick. He's like, where is he? So he's riding his
motorcycle.
motorcycle.
That's what she's doing.
Yeah, I was like, okay, she's gonna be
Fuck
the
this.
little rebel.
I
Got
don't want
it.
to be on this. And the mural is cool. It looks straight out of fucking Rebels. In fact, I think it is the mural in Rebels. And she's a rebel without a cause. She doesn't show up. She's listening to punk music. I did a little bit of an eye roll, just because I don't really like that music, but it fits her character. It works perfectly. And
again,
ultimately, on
you
second
had-
watching, I liked it
You
even
had the
more.
context.
I do have the context.
I did not.
But it's easy to get that context,
yeah,
Joe.
yeah.
A character that's like, man, I don't
No,
wanna
but you
fucking
have
do
you
no,
have
no.
positive feelings.
Yes, I have
Exactly.
So
positive
we're not talking.
feelings.
Yeah, you
No,
have
no.
positive feelings toward her, and I think that softens up.
Yes.
Like I don't
Sure.
have like he's got even less feelings
And
towards
you
her.
even
Right.
hated the music and just
I
like
did
her
hate the
coming to
music.
it's
Yeah,
like,
so
okay,
you're just
I
like-
don't know. I'm just like, okay, she's gonna be the rebel one doing stupid things.
Yeah.
That's what I'm assuming
it
already.
sucks, man. I want to
it
know if
is.
there's a way to do this that won't annoy new viewers.
Reddit has a cheat sheet where you could watch some stuff.
I gave that to you for the
Some-
Clone Wars years ago, and
Yeah.
you still didn't watch
What do
it.
you mean
so-
a cheat sheet?
Oh, like
you
Rebels.
watch Rebels and
no,
Clone Wars to
I'm wondering
keep
if
you
there's a
up.
way to do it where you don't have to fucking watch nothing.
Oh no.
And it makes you
No.
not. So you're gonna hate every character that's shirking their celebration of something. You just don't like when there's a rebel.
No, that
character.
was just one thing, and then it just started kind of piling on.
kind
some
of
stuff.
I know, but
Yeah.
you had already said I just don't like that moment. You're like, oh god.
You just said you rolled your eyes too whenever
I rolled
you heard
my
this.
eyes.
Yeah.
Know.
And
That's
you
why
have
I'm asking.
context.
No,
I'm
'cause
fucking asking. How do we do it to where it's not fucking annoying?
That can't be the first introduction to the character. Like you can have them go like, "Man, I really don't want to be here," and it's like, "Hey, you have to be here. This whole thing's about you." And she's like, "Look, this does nothing to bring
She
Ezra
All
back."
right,
And
set
you
it
can,
up.
You can,
award.
you can set it up,
I
and it's
like
just
that,
like,
Alex.
and
She
so
gets
it's
her
like
reward. She's not happy. She's like, all right,
like
cool.
it.
She's
you
still
give her a
being
reason
sad.
to not be there other than
Yeah.
I'm 16
Clue
and
the
I'm
audience
angsty.
in that Ezra, in a lot of people's minds, are dead. She doesn't want to celebrate, the
Yeah.
death of her friend or the missing in action of her
Yeah.
friend, and she just doesn't want the spotlight on her because she's going through some stuff. But you get that, but you get it later. And
Yeah.
when it's introduced here, it can rub people the wrong way. Didn't rub me the wrong way. Hopefully it didn't rub you the wrong way, but I can see how it might. she's evading the cops, and
Yep.
you know, and then even the cops are like, "Hey, you got to pull over. Just do
It's
this."
an
They do this
order.
kind of. I like the scene. I actually think it's well executed, and if you get out of your old man crabby mode, it's cool. So one E-wing goes a little further, parks, and then she's like, "Oh my God,
She's not
she's not
stopping.
stopping!" And then she does the thing where she goes under it, and she is an excellent pilot. She's pretty proficient with her little speeder, and we've seen that, so it all fits, and I really enjoyed it. And even the E-wing pilot's like, respect, and he's like, fuck it, we're not gonna get her, let's move on. So I really enjoyed the scene. I liked it even more upon second watching, but it's because I have 4 seasons of context with this character.
Yeah.
I already like this character. This is as if you're watching a full power Luke do his kind of thing, because that's what he is and what he does. So ultimately, she basically goes to her house. Her house is this old communication tower. She feeds the loth cat that we've seen in Rebels that has a connection with her and the team and Ezra. And it is literally a cat, because she's doing the cat food that we all do. So I hope all this stuff makes her a relatable character, because she's like feeding her cats as we feed our cats. And then basically
she goes back into her house or whatever. She pulls out this little communicator, turns it on. It's Ezra explaining. He's like, hey.
Live action Ezra.
Yeah, it's like, hey, explaining. He's like, hey, I wanted to talk to you personally. I have to do this, and I hope you respect and everything. Well, like, you're like a sister to me. She's got that recording, which kind of brings everybody up to speed as well.
How do you take Thrawn and there's no Jedi left? How do you take this off the board? Well, you take the Thrawn piece off the board and you take Ezra off the board. And then all the Star Wars universe happens in this time frame. Now this show is saying, can we bring these 2 pieces back? Yeah. All right. And then the night, they send Scarlett Johansson after Ren, because she's like, oh, well, she's just going to get it for us. Just ambush them and take the map.
Yeah, go get the map key from Ahsoka, because they still assume Ahsoka has it.
Yeah. By the way, I really like Clancy Brown, that he's a leader, and he's the leader of Lothal. This planet, by the way, Joe, we've seen a bunch of times in Rebels, and it was the center of a huge battle, and it's good to get even more celebration that it is been liberated, but you don't get any of that context here. It's just cool to see, and I'm glad that it's like, oh, Clancy, we got a good strong character here. He's probably not going to do anything in this series, but know that he's out there somewhere, Clancy Brown. All right, so does
so's Lizzo. Just throwing it out there.
It's canon.
It's canon.
It's canon now.
It's canon.
Dude, that's not lethal anymore. It doesn't matter.
Right.
You
We'll
fix
talk
this
about
up.
that right now. So, in a bit. So then does Filoni still think that 2 people can have a strong connection without romantic feelings? Because, over the course of the Rebels season and in the later seasons, there was, Sabine and Ezra kind of, romantic little flirtation stuff. They kissed, I think, at one point. But I think it was always, you could interpret it as, let's ship them. Or you can interpret it as, hey, these are 2 people, they're friends.
From the first
and
episode,
they have a
I
strong
got, yeah, that's what I
connection,
felt.
And it doesn't have to be romantic. And, he's been asked before, because they're like, why don't you ship these? The shippers. And he's like, well, 2 people can have a strong connection without having romantic feelings for each other. I'm wondering if Dave Filoni still feels this way. This is when they were kids. Now that they're older, I think that if he wants to re-explore this and say, well, maybe, Sabine does have feelings for Ezra. You can tell in the recording, Ezra was like, I consider you like a sister. So
Yeah.
it seems like they're still continuing the platonic relationship.
What if he's from Space Alabama?
But maybe she doesn't feel that way. Maybe she's starting to have feelings for him, and that could be a subplot moving forward if we'll see Ezra get with Ren. Anyways, Sabine. And then, then we get the artist's eye line, and she's like, tell me what you see. And I was like, I would have gone with the, hey, you know how you make tech and you made like super weapons for the Empire and shit, and like you're very intelligent. Can you show this to me? Instead of the whole, oh, you draw art and you make fun creations on your armor and stuff, so you should know what this is. I'm like, Yeah, so I understand what Alex is saying there, but this is for artists, and I'm not an artist. I can't draw for shit, so it wasn't for me. Hu Yang, is it right? Hu Yang interrupts the robot. What's his name? Hao Yang.
Something like that.
Yeah, Hao Yang interrupts. He's a Jedi Temple robot that brought up younglings and stuff. That she should be a
Yeah.
she should be. Well, he interrupts their
Tennant.
conversation, huh?
David Tennant. Didn't know.
Is it? Yeah,
Yeah.
I like it. I like this new robot character, and so they're implying that, hey, what have you been doing? And you don't have a home to go to. Don't you get tired of it? And and they're implying that she needs a home and she needs a Padawan, and these two get back together. By the way, let's talk about this right now. This is not a thing, Joe and Alex. This whole Sabine is a Padawan of Ahsoka.
I really wish you didn't tell me that, because that makes it so much worse in my mind.
Yeah. This was not shown in like, say, towards the end of season 4 of Rebels.
I assumed it was.
Oh yeah, I assumed that like this is something I missed, and it's like, oh cool, we're gonna do the thing. Yeah, that makes this so much worse.
The reason why she can fight with a saber and why she has low level latency powers is because a real Jedi Master taught her. Kanan, I'm sorry, Kanan, Jarek, and Ezra. They have, Sabine was curious. She's a little Mandalorian firecracker. She wants to learn. They trained her in the ways of the Force, so that's how she is. And Ahsoka did kind of, notice her obviously in the TV series, and there was an implication that maybe they could. But it was never shown like, hey, let's do this, right? So all this stuff that they're referring to of we tried but it didn't work out or whatever has not happened, and it's not been shown. I'm sure maybe they're setting up flashback scenes or something that will cover this.
So she's not at all that like significantly Force sensitive, so it would totally make sense that she's like, you're not a Padawan because you're not Force sensitive.
Correct. She's very low level Force sensitive.
He did eventually.
He said it.
She's like very low level.
Okay.
So like
out of the what do you say, hundreds of kids that we have raised up, you would be the worst.
She would get a failing grade.
Yeah.
Right. She was more the Mandalorian type of thing, but she had a little bit. And I don't know what the series is going to do with that. I like to think that I don't have to be fucking Luke Skywalker power level to get Jedi training and maybe help out with a lightsaber for a while. That could be one angle.
Once, and they fucked
What?
it up.
That you don't have to be super powerful?
Or it's like, oh, they kind of tease it, and he's like, he might be Force sensitive, but then they're like,
They did fuck it up
Ray!
with
Ray! Yeah.
Poor.
That reminds me so much of Finn, and Finn is a low level sensitive, and if you train him, will that low level get higher? Maybe they're doing that with Sabine. Maybe if they train her, she can get higher from there, and that works. I like the dynamic. I like the idea of it, and we have a cross Jedi Mandalorian, but it's so weird because we already have kind of a cross Jedi Mandalorian with Grogu. So why are we repeating some of this stuff? We don't necessarily have to make Sabine Wren a Jedi. We can just continue her. Once Ezra comes back, boom, she gives back Ezra. But I have this feeling Ezra's gonna be like, no, you keep it.
It's yours.
I see you using it, and then maybe Ezra has his own. That would be fucking cool moment too. See, so as long as they do it right, right? Anyways, so what else in this episode? For Master Apprentice.
Yeah,
she needs Ren in order to take him on, because that's what the show is implying. You can't handle these two yourself. You can't handle these two Jedi yourself. Ren you need her. So she goes out, and Ren ditched her.
Stole
I told you
Stole
to
it.
Stole the
stay.
MacGuffin.
It's like, go after her. It's like, nah, I'll let her keep her for a couple hours.
Steal it. She knew where she was going. She's like, I need a place where I can better think. And she's like, no, I don't think that's a good idea. And she's like, okay. Then she went and took it to a place. It's even Syndulla's like, yeah, whatever. Just go find her at her house. Mm-hmm. It's not a big deal. So Anyways, the apprentice, though, picks up her trail. You got the little, in the system, right into the system, and it flies over. It reminds me of the Darth Maul scene where it comes to him, and she's got the music is excellent. The shots are well shot, and you have two robots and her ship in the background. Boom. In timing with the music, too. And, anyways, Ahsoka is regretting walking away. You know, she walked away from her master and didn't try to save Darth Vader. She walked away from the greater, battles and stuff. And I guess they'll imply that she helped out here and there. But she's just regretting walking away. And I think in that moment she says, I got to stop walking away from anytime anything gets too hard, I'm going to walk away. And that's character growth. That has potential to be mined with some good stories. So I think even though Ren is difficult and she's a fucking, just fucking rebel and doesn't want to listen to my rules, that she's gonna deal with her anyway. So she figures out she's the artist and she's like, 3 figures, 3 faces. And then she just solves it. I'm like, oh, man. I would have appreciated if the audience was clued in more to how she figured it out.
More or not at all. I think you need to go to the extremes where she's just doing stuff and she's referencing documents but you don't get to see her and she does a bunch of stuff and then it happens. You're like, oh, cool, this chick is brilliant. But I think what they showed is just enough where it's like that is totally unsatisfying because you give that to a smart 12-year-old, they figure it out in an afternoon.
You went into the middle, and you should have gone on one of these, right? So she figures it out because 3 faces.
It was on the
I
floor.
don't know.
Yeah, it was just
the whole floor was the answer key.
Yeah.
Where the floor was the answer key.
They showed the floor before.
They showed the floor, but then they showed the pillars. She starts deleting that. And then deletes the pillars. Yeah. And then you're left with the floor.
The answer is the floor, and then the answer's on the thing.
Okay.
So 3 faces.
All right. Yeah. Well, that actually flew over my head. So the 3 faces, then the way they're positioned, mark the floor.
Mark the floor where it is.
And then if you, but then how? And then
there's a spot on the ball that has the symbol, and then so that's where you look, and then there's 3 rotating discs.
Yeah. So then once you get she just needed a starting point essentially.
Apparently, she didn't know that the whole floor was the answer, and it's like, oh, that's
all right.
That's
well, then that kind of fixes my critique with it.
Yeah.
I thought it was like once they showed what the floor is, like, oh, there's what the answer is. It's like you're telling me that the droid didn't know and Ahsoka's dumb and didn't know. It's like, come on, you know what that is.
I just know from an audience member seeing it the first time, she used the symbols to match where the ball is, and then she just started doing the whole what do you call it? What do you call those things?
Bop it.
No,
Twist
not the bop it. The fucking Rubik's Cube.
Yes.
Yeah. So then she starts doing the Rubik's Cube, and it went over my head because it's like, but why didn't anybody else do that?
Yeah, I don't.
Why was it only her that knew how to do the Rubik's Cube? Oh, she recognized the pattern that Ahsoka gave her. Yeah, she recognized the pattern from the footage that Ahsoka gave her of the temple and how the temple was set up. Anyways, okay, so that's fixed. Fine, like it. Get stabbed,
That's not my nitpick, but...
What was your nitpick?
My nitpick was, like, she lives in the little communication tower.
Yeah.
She's sleeping. She gets a little beacon, red light. It's like, oh, somebody's coming. She presses the button, and then you see, like, people are coming close to her place. But... she doesn't know when people are entering her elevator and coming in her house.
We're getting attacked by droids.
Yeah, well, they're assassin droids. I don't think they have the same
They use
beacons
the
as
elevator.
They use the elevator.
They use the elevator.
Who said they use the elevator?
You
if they're
see them.
assassin droids.
You see them.
You see
whenever
them
they
use
leave.
the elevator?
Yeah, the same way they came in and they came out. Okay. All right, well, that's what
you see the assassin droids use the elevator.
Yeah, she's like chasing him, but he closes the shaft.
Yeah, he used the elevator after. That doesn't mean that he used the elevator up.
So she doesn't have any...
I just like
behind the scenes?
How are they fly? Do they fly up there or what?
Well, if they're assassin droids, I'm pretty sure they can climb up the signs. Use your imagination.
Well, I'm just saying, but she just
they use the elevator up there.
A sensor for everything else.
Okay.
She has a sensor?
That's your. I see what you're saying, Joe. I got you.
Okay.
I don't agree with it because I'm not if I'm a fucking Dark Jedi, I'm not gonna have a beacon on my ship that's registering as friendly and that can be detected by people coming in. So, but that's okay. So she does. The ultimate point is she gets ambushed.
Yes.
She gets ambushed by robots. Just as soon as she figures it out, here come the robots. We get a lightsaber fight, as she goes downstairs to try to chase these robots that took the goddamn map. She kills one of them, but apparently there was another one.
Mm-hmm.
And so she goes downstairs, and it is the young apprentice. I'm like, all right. I've always wanted like that, that dark female Jedi, and then one of my favorite characters from Rebels, Ren, fighting. So this was a fantastic fight for me. Really elevated the series. Really enjoyed it. She's raw in battle. And she's clearly losing, but she's holding her own. And I do think it surprises. You see her face. It surprises because she's been trained. She doesn't know about, Ezra and his master and everybody that has, all the shit that she's gone through. But she's still not good enough to face a, 100% trained apprentice. So, we get a little bit of tension because it says there's a fight going on. So then Ahsoka gets in. Ahsoka can kick that chick's ass. And so Ahsoka's going as fast as she can. I'm like, hurry up and get this fucking get. And I liked it. And she shows up, not in time. Boom. Right through her. And I was like, whoa, that's a good moment. But it's a good moment, but instantly I knew she's not dead. And it shouldn't be that way in Star Wars. It shouldn't be that way.
If your name starts with Qui, yeah, you did.
You gone.
If your name starts with a Q, you dead. Right. It sucks, obviously. Now, how going to make me know she's dead if they did that and then she goes like that and come out on one side? Now I know she's dead. But they didn't do that for Qui-Gon. Apparently getting stabbed all those years ago. The technology has gotten better, maybe. Okay.
Well, no,
What about force healing?
Transport.
No,
Ahsoka, I don't know if Ahsoka knows how to do it. Maybe she does. We didn't see.
Again, I'm going with blame Obi-Wan because he didn't call
Just
the paramedics.
blame.
He didn't call the paramedics on time, so he probably could have lived.
Yeah.
Blame Obi-Wan. I thought you meant blame the Obi-Wan show for showing
that too.
Reva getting stabbed
that too,
twice,
but
once as
whatever.
a kid and once as a... And she's still alive! Stop it! Fucking stop it!
They don't make lightsabers like they used to.
Guys, I actually, believe it or not, everybody hates Reva. Even we hate Reva as a character. I wanted it to be good. But I bought a Reva miniature, so there is
That's probably
Reva
a cooler one.
merchandise, and it's the new Star Wars Shatterpoint game. I bought Reva just specifically so I could.
She's immune to lightsabers.
She better have a special rule that if she's immune to lightsabers.
You
That's
didn't
funny.
hit the vital organs.
So check that out on Wednesday on our Warhammer Wednesdays. I know it's not Warhammer, but it's when we play our tabletops. Anyways, hopefully it's a good game. So yeah, so she gets stabbed through the chest, and I like that they end it on her exhale after she's fighting. It was
I
like,
was like, no, her last breath. But it's
well directed, well acted, well shot, good fight, great visuals. Ends on that exhale, and she didn't get there in time. Masterfully done episode. And I really like the credits music. I like the theme song of Ahsoka. It's not like this massive heroic thing, because Ahsoka's she's not Luke, she's not Obi-Wan. She's this outcast, and it kind of fits her theme. So I really like the theme music. This Morgan character's interesting to me. This Night Sister. Are we going to see her do Night Sister powers eventually? Or she's just going to act as the gateway between these? Or we're going to get some Night Sisters lore? What is this new galaxy? What is Thrawn going to do when he comes back? Is Ezra alive? So many really new and old returning characters that are interesting. And the subplots I like. And there's plenty of room for character growth. I loved it. 9 out of fucking 10. What about y'all?
For me, it's going to be a 7. I did enjoy it. I liked the majority of the characters. She was, at first, I didn't like her. Second episode, we'll talk about that. But
Okay.
it's just like, okay, this is the turn. We'll see where it goes from there. She hasn't really,
Fair.
she still hasn't done her whole arc yet.
Yeah.
She's doing dumb things, whatever, and just this plot. I want them to do something different. It's like, all right, let's focus right now on this. All right, this is their job. Then after that, let's just not make the whole series about the MacGuffin and the map, and we got to go over here and over here.
Yeah, hopefully we rush through that shit.
Yes.
Yeah.
But 7 overall.
Yeah, I agree with the 7. I liked it. I think it's a good, solid start. There's some awkwardness of kind of trying to introduce the characters if you're not familiar with some of the stuff in the beginning, and you're like, man, this is not a great introduction for this one. Why is Ahsoka so stiff when we know that she's not stiff in the other thing that you did, where you had her not be stiff with, little baby Grogu and on these other things? So I was expecting, honestly, a much more nurturing, almost apologetic Ahsoka, especially when she's interacting with people that she hasn't talked to in a long time. Because
that's what we're gonna get.
Yeah, I think so. But I mean, just from the timeline, it's like you showed me nurturing. It's like where did that go?
Well, we don't know what she's been doing in the whole thing. And remember, these two had a falling out, and she's having to begrudgingly go back over there. So maybe we'll be explaining that flashback what actually went down between these two ladies.
Yeah. I can only judge on what I've seen so far. So it's like in this episode, it's just like, okay, you're getting through the rigors of trying to introduce everyone and set everything up. So
8.
Oh no!
Can I get an 8?
No, I especially now knowing that a fully an active Dark Jedi apprentice she beat, but she didn't handle it. I wanted that Dark Jedi apprentice to be playing with her. It's like you haven't kept up with your lightsaber in the last several years. What they said, several years, and it's like, come on, she should have kicked the shit out of her.
Disagree, but she ultimately won. I like the fact that she held her own a little bit and then lost. I didn't want her to just kick her ass outright. Now, if Baylan was fighting her, that's what we should see. She'd fucking he'd end it instantly. But I think the reason why I'm at 9, and I totally agree with you guys, by the way, where it's like, if you don't have the context of 4 seasons of Rebels, and you don't have the context of a little bit of Clones, you're going to be at least 1 point lower. So totally made sense to me. I was hoping I can get y'all to 8, but 7, I'll take a 7. All right, let's go to episode 2. Episode 2, Toil and Trouble. So the Dark Jedi find the little point that this thing is in their galaxy, where their galaxy connects wherever Thrawn is. It's a reflex point on planet Cetos. And I think this is all intriguing stuff. What is this built by? This is being built by Jedi. Who the fuck built this? Another people, an ancient civilization from another galaxy. That opens up a lot of potential. We could see something new in the Star Wars universe.
Let's go
you
there.
can play with that.
3rd episode.
Thrawn shows up with a whole new race. The Vaughn, God damn it, the Vox Vaughn. Do you know what I'm talking about in Expanded Universe?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What is their name?
Oh, I don't know.
I can't believe I forgot their name.
They'll say it in the comments. Anyways,
they'll say it in the comments for us. So she's, and then they show that, she's the keeper of Ezra's saber, right, and the protector of Lothal, which is what Ezra wanted for her. So that matches up, and Morgan keeps saying that Thrawn is calling to her. Like, how? Like, what is that? Thrawn doesn't have any fucking mystic powers. He does, and I doubt that a radio signal can get that fucking far. So what is that? Is that going to be another kind of thing? Is he working with these ancient, powerful people or something? They talk about.
I just felt like she was like, I feel his presence or something.
No, you hear it, and when I had the subtitles on, it actually says her name. And it looks, it's calling out to her.
Yeah, they got to be really careful with that, because if he's working with these ancients that know where they are, it's like, why aren't the ancients giving you a map and saying, go home? Because that's the whole thing, is he assumedly does not have a map and can't get home. But if he's enslaved them and weaponized all of them, it's like, they should
I can already see a way out of that. Yeah. He's found an old temple, right, that he's learned how to, like, focus his energy and kind of make a call, but he doesn't have the tech. And what's really cool and what we discovered by the end of the series is you need 6 to 8 SSD engines. Anybody know what SSD means? Super Star Destroyer. Is fucking sweet. All right, so the it's calling out to her. Pathway to Peridia. We already covered that. And Balance wants. Okay, so Balan. Stop auto-correcting. Baylan wants power. But he knows that war is coming for some, and he's like more power than you can imagine. So that he may be a mercenary, he may be for money right now, but his ultimate goal is power. So could we potentially see Balan become a wild card, a third party, betray Thrawn, try to take power, wants to know more about this ancient civilization that created this bullshit here? So that could be something cool. Chopper, we see Chopper for half a second. He's like, rah, 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 and it's 100% Chopper. I love this guy. If you watch 4 seasons of Rebels, you'll fall in love with him.
I have not.
I saw somebody on Twitter. They went to Galaxy's Edge. Apparently, there's a little Chopper robot that's like you can control it and drive it around. I want to buy that. Somebody tell me where to get it. There's a crappy one called Chopper where it doesn't drive on its own. It just makes noises. I want the little. I will buy that shit right now. Anyways. There's ex-Imperials everywhere. They're like, where'd this robot come from? And they show a little bit of why she's really good with tech. They show that a little bit here. We probably need a little bit more of that in the first episodes.
Yeah, lean towards more to that.
Why does she know how to do the thing? She's just a girl. She doesn't know anything. Well, she does. She's a fucking genius level intellect, and she figures out that this robot came from Corellia. And they said, what? That's New Republic stuff. That's not an Imperial remnant planet. And it's like, well, let's go over there. Have you checked up on there? And then you got this perfect. They cast this guy perfectly. this businessman dude, and he's like, I'm busy right now. And she's like, I'm the fucking general. And he's like, okay, that's not necessary. Follow me. And he's like, oh, it's so well acted. Well done. And they're kind of showing off this big yard. They're basically dismantling Star Destroyers and all sorts of stuff, repurposing them because of the stupidest fucking thing. And I agree with Alex on this. Like, the New Republic is...
They're dumb. They're written by children.
They're fucking dumb.
And it's so disheartening.
I'm not using the R word.
I root against them because it's like, you are so dumb. You are managing all of this so poorly in all of your TV shows, in all of your movies. And it's like, look, bring Thrawn back.
Yeah,
I like Thrawn. You know what, though, I want?
Empire did nothing wrong.
I want
go.
Thrawn to win. Yeah. Thrawn needs to win because the New Republic is a stain on the galaxy. Kill everyone from Rebels, and we go with Thrawn.
Let's go. Let's join the Empire.
Okay, how about
Alex?
this? You can have Chopper.
Okay.
Chopper. Thrawn is
me.
like, you know what? You're cool. Everyone else dies,
Chopper's
but you're
coming
cool.
with me.
So you can have Chopper.
So it's so stupid because they are dismantling fleets, and they're not buying new fleets. They're not, putting new Republic fleets into the air. They're repurposing it and putting for programs and stupid shit because they say, well, we don't want to buff our military. We don't want to reduce our military presence. There's no enemy. We're fine, even though there is enemy everywhere.
Yeah,
and
we've seen
even
it in
you are
Mandalorian,
getting
we've
bad
seen it in
feelings.
Andor, we've seen it here.
I fucking hate the New Republic. So anyway, so she's like, and then they talk a little bit about, why don't you just be her apprentice? She's not ready. And it's like, well, what, ready? How do you know when she's ready? What does mean ready? It's like, you just know. She'll know and I'll know. They set up what happens later on. So then the show... So the SSD engine, he comes to the command center, and she's like, what is that? And it's like, that's an SSD engine, and we're repurposing it. And she's like, a super Star Destroyer? That's a fucking massive engine. What is that being used for? None of the New Republic are building any ships of that class.
It's above your pay grade.
Number one, why? Why are you not, I guess. Well, they'd be like, Joe, this is post-war. You don't need a superstar. Okay, I get that, but I don't get all the other incompetence. Anyways, he's like, okay, yeah, I'll show you. And genuinely, I don't think this guy knows, because he knows he's doing some nefarious shit and doing Empire stuff, but he doesn't know what that is for. And he's all like, it's classified. Oh, sorry. And she's like, I'm the fucking general. Declassify it. And he's like,
that's
I don't think
that's not how chain of command works, where you can't just be a general and be like, declassify that. It's like, I don't think that's how that works.
It does work. It does work in Star Wars. Don't you know that if you could just declassify documents just by thinking about it? Did you not know that, Alex? The second I touch a document, I can declassify it.
That's what you did.
Doesn't matter if I take our nuclear secrets to my golf club in Mar-a-Lago. It's declassified. Anyways, so she's like, declassify it right now. And he's like, no, I can't do that. And they're like, what is going on here? And then Ahsoka's like, what what other droids do you have? Do you have any HK droids? And I'm like, teaser for.
That's a weird question.
I hope they show an HK droid in the future. But you're right. It's kind of a weird thing to bring up. It feels forced in there for Easter eggs.
So I wanted to ask you, is that a major thing in Rebels that I just missed? It's like, why would you ask that very specific question?
No.
Look, HK droids are sweet as fuck, and I'm always for them. But it's like, we didn't see them.
It was out of left field. I don't really know. Maybe they're teasing that an HK droid will be in the series. I don't fucking know. They are assassin droids. But it's just weird for her to be like, do you have any assassin droids? She could have just said assassin droids, and then and an HK droid could still show up. But to name drop it in such a specific manner was weird. It's like, no, we don't have that. But you see everybody in the background. It's like,
I'm going to press this one button, but look at you.
It's like the guy in
I was like, wait, something's not right.
Have you ever seen the original Star Trek where the guy's just turning a wheel? And it's like, why is that guy in the...
Oh, it's from the Star Trek, the original series. There's a wheel they put onto a wall.
And there's a dude that's just there turning it like this in the background. It's like, what the fuck is that guy doing?
Yeah.
Anyway, so the guy goes, when they're about to reveal too much, because this is super sensitive because they need this engine, the guy goes, for the Empire! And he tries to kill the general and Ahsoka. And we have a little battle. I'm like, yeah, so fucking cool. A surprise betrayal. They're in a den of snakes that has been hiddenly helping the Empire remnants, and our heroes spring in the action. There's a great scene. Ahsoka bursts through the fucking window and tries to go after the fucking engine. I don't know what she was going to do.
She's going to outrun the plane.
She was going to maybe cut the lines so that the engine will fall, but she can't because there's an Inquisitor. And I don't actually know whether this guy's an Inquisitor, but he's dressed as an Inquisitor and he's using an Inquisitor lightsaber. So my guess is that because the Empire is lost, maybe there's a few Inquisitors left, and since they have no fucking job anymore, he joined Balin's mercenaries, and he's a Balin guy. Yeah. Or he's a Imperial Remnant guy that is working temporarily with Balin and his apprentice. Because notice how the show is positioning Balin and his apprentice as two. You know, there's a master and an apprentice. So I don't really know much about this guy. He's mysterious. I like it. Is he one of the is he a first brother, second brother? What is he? Anyway, they have a fight here. Badass fight. You can tell that Ahsoka is a better fighter than he when he has one saber, and he's losing, and he even has a robot helper, and she's just like fucking manhandling. I just love her. Her saber style is so cool. And we've seen that grow in Clone Wars and Rebels. And it's well done. And then he has to engage a second lightsaber, and he's still getting his ass kicked. And then when he notices that, hey, our objective is completed, it's like, I can't handle you. Probably the only one that can maybe go against her is Balin. But I even think she might be able to beat Balin. So he runs, and here comes the fucking, I don't know, turbo lasers apparently have no ability to move at all. So I'm just going to fire in a straight line. Boop, 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 boop. It misses the Inquisitor, and then obviously it misses Ahsoka, and she comes through the smoke, and she lets them go. And here I was annoyed. I will nitpick this. Here's my inner Alex. She, for the cool shot, she does this. She lets it go by. What the fuck you do that for, man? You know, this is not the end of these people. Here's what you do. You got the wrong saber here. This is also the wrong saber. You just go, and then as the thing flies by, she cuts it in half and says, you don't get your fucking toy back. That would have been fucking badass.
It would have.
You know, but for no fucking reason, she lets him have his toy back. And it's gonna be a problem. He better not murder anybody.
She could grab it. She could force pull it. She's got powers too.
That's a little cocky, Ahsoka. You know.
I'll get you next
time. It's
time.
just for this. I know they don't have script doctors that with 7 different levels. And once you film something, I'm sure they even think of stuff. They're like, fuck. That'd be really cool.
Well, I filmed it. Roll it out.
That just would have been cool. It doesn't take away from it, but it's just whatever. So anyways, simultaneous, we get 2 really well-filmed simultaneous action scenes. You got Syndulla going after the ship. She's taking fire. She's like, I'm the general. And they're like, oh, you're the general? Boop, 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 boop. And they're trying to blow her up. And then Chopper has his moment. I fucking love Chopper. I can understand what Chopper is saying a bit better in this series when Chopper was talking in the previous years, you couldn't really make out what he was saying, but you knew what he was saying. Here, they're almost making it a little clearer because he's like, "Did you go through my stuff?" You can see Chopper, "Did you go through my stuff?" And she's like, "No, I didn't go through your stuff." He's like, "Yes, you did." and then I just love it. And then so she gives him the important task of throwing the tracker on the ship. She gets close enough, he throws it, boom, and Chopper succeeds. Yay! I just love the way he sounds. And then the Inquisitor dupe escapes in Shin's ship, and that's when the stupid moment she lets the saber come back to him. And yeah, and then Ren is now healed, and she's gonna go through her old Mandalorian stuff. Or actually, before this, or maybe it's after this. Chopper gets the tracker on the ship. Okay, then it's after this. So she's healed. She goes to get her Mando stuff. Now with her gear on, she takes a blade and she cuts her hair back down to where it was in the Rebel series, and then assumedly to fit her hair into the helmet. So apparently, Mandalorians can't have long hair. I think you can actually.
Oh, in the Mandalorian season 3, all those kids had long hair. Remember, they kept disappearing in and out of the helmet for no reason.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be sealed, remember, but
hermetically sealed or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
So then we go back to the scene, and they're like, "What the fuck?" And they're arresting all these people, and she's like, "How can they still be loyal to the Empire?" And I like this line. It's not necessarily loyalty. It's
money.
It's money.
They're trying to survive. Yeah.
They're trying to survive. So, and then this is where I wrote, "Why is Ahsoka so formal?" When I first watched this, my eyes suck. I didn't notice her smile. She has a really warm, inviting smile when she's interacting with Chopper and Syndulla. But initially, I didn't see that, and it felt a little more warm but standoffish in the same time, because she's like, "I'll let you know when Chopper has something. I'll let you know." She looks down approvingly, right, and she nods. And I'm like, why didn't she just like, thanks, Chop? Because I think she would, but maybe not. And Chop could make one of his old, sounds.
I guess in Clone Wars, she's a little bit more animated. No?
But I suppose this will be one of her character arcs, right? As she kind of opens up. But upon rewatching it, I didn't have that much problem with it, because she's got a smile on her face the whole time, and she does the "What's up, man? What's up?" nod to Chop. Anyways, Ren contacts Ahsoka in full gear and says, "I'm ready." And then that's the moment that they were talking about before, and so she's ready to be her apprentice. And Chopper solves the thing, and he says the transport went into orbit around Cetos. So, yeah.
I have a question.
They show the engine for some kind of installation. They go to... So, yeah, one little quick. We'll get to your question in 1 second. It's the Eye of the Scion, and it will deliver Thrawn from his exile. They insert the engine, and then we have a quick scene with Balin, who's like, "Man, it'd be a shame to kill Ahsoka. There's not very many Jedi left." She's like, "Sentimental," and he's like, "It's just truth." And it just shows... The show's trying to show you he's not Sith. He doesn't want to eradicate the Jedi. He's just his own thing.
Yeah.
If they get in his way, he's going to fucking kill him, but just don't get in my way. Anyways, what was your question?
If you were creating something as large as the Eye of the Sun, and you need 6 Super Star Destroyer engines, and the only goal for this thing is to get to one specific spot in a galaxy far, far, farther away, wouldn't you get the map first? Why was the map in the Indiana Jones cave in the first place?
Yeah, why'd you construct it without having the map first? You let's say you construct the whole fucking thing.
It's like, oh shit,
it's
right
where
here.
to go.
Like that's like the first thing is like, you're like, I'm gonna have this
then
on.
we wouldn't
me.
have that cool Ahsoka.
We'll
I know
figure it
we
out.
don't need. They wouldn't have a show.
figure
The
it
answer is
Yeah,
they wouldn't have a
yeah.
show. But it's like, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You don't have a second map.
we'll figure it out, I guess. They could still, we're all post trying to fix it. They could just jump around the galaxy, continuing to find it. But I like this clever thing where it's in a different galaxy, because it's like, I'm pretty sure Ahsoka and Ren got together and went searching for Ezra, and the rebellion and the New Republic searched for Ezra, this hero of Lothal, all across. And they actually did search the entire galaxy. He's not there. Why? because he's in a different galaxy. So that's a kind of a clever explanation for it. I really, really enjoyed this episode too, because we get 2 simultaneous action scenes. We get this the betrayal sabotage thing. We get all these bits, and we get Sabine's armor. It's great for somebody like me, and so I'm going to rate this one and then Chopper gets a moment here, 9 out of 10 for the. I was gonna go 8 out of 10, but I just love Chopper so much, so I'm gonna go 9 out of 10. How about you?
I'm still at a 7.
Okay.
So I still want her to win me over. Sabine.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Maybe next episode. I love the fight scenes. The fight scenes are pretty fucking cool. That's what I'm watching or whatever. Dumb
Obi-Wan.
scenes. Yeah.
Obi-Wan fight scenes.
No, it's not ridiculous like that. The scenes with the traders, kind of seen that before, like with Andor and Mandalorian. I was expecting her to start kicking some droids. It's like, none of these are going to malfunction. Whatever.
But if you've seen it before, Joe, it doesn't mean that you're gonna give it negative, right?
No, I'm not. Like I said, like it's still trying to win me over because we're still in the map plot. Once we move past this plot, and then we get the turnaround.
I'm worried. I'm worried that we're gonna do the whole thing where Thrawn is in the last episode. He turns around and then he shows up with a fleet or whatever, and that's the very last episode. I'm worried.
Oh, I've got a bigger. I have a, so the question I didn't ask you before. I still ask after.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to that. Hopefully that doesn't happen. I want to move past that.
This whole thing is the map.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was saying it's 7, but it's getting there. It's getting there.
Yeah, I like this one a little bit less than the first one, but I still liked it. I'm actually going to give it the same score. Well, the last one was like a high 7. This one is like a lower 7.
Okay.
I still think it's really solid stuff. It sounds like I'm nitpicking a lot, but we've seen some absolute doo-doo garbage Star Wars content, and like just straight up not good. Obi-Wan was not good. Boba Fett was not good. And there's a lot of that stuff. And
Mandalorian season 3.
Had some parts that were good. Yeah. And so it's like, this is a step in the right direction. I still think that this isn't even like, I'm starting to realize that there's stuff that I'm looking for in the Star Wars universe, and this is giving me some of it. So it's a little bit more serious. There's no candy apple red scooters on a desert planet, and there's none of that other stuff. But it's still a little bit pulled back from Andor, so I think it's better for mass audiences. So I think it's good stuff, and I'm hoping that we do get away from the map plot, because I had a horrible feeling, like the Force was reaching out to me and was like, what if this whole series is a map plot, and at the very last bit there's some sort of transmission between where Thrawn is and where they are, and Sabine has to make the choice. Do we save Ezra and potentially bring Thrawn with him, which could destroy, or do we sever the tie and lose Ezra forever?
Yeah, because they're setting up her strong connection to Ezra. She's only doing this to get Ezra. And then Ahsoka's like, stop, don't do that.
If you do it,
she's like, I'm here because of Ezra.
Yeah, and so it's like, that's what I don't want it to be. It's the whole thing's the map plot. Then we get to the final scene.
I actually want it to be that.
But then
I love drama.
But then we get no Thrawn, and that's
we'll get Thrawn.
Oh.
She does the thing, and Thrawn does come through.
Oh, I was saying she makes the hard decision. She goes, as much as I love Ezra, I cannot destroy, because we don't think that Thrawn, like, knowing what we know about the sequels.
That would be stupid. Well, that would be stupid, but I think that she does it for Ezra, expecting Ezra to come through. It's Thrawn that comes through, and then in season 3, you'll see that Ezra actually, but you didn't know about it. Ezra's back as well as Thrawn.
I would hope so. I hope that they're doing the thing where they completely ignore the fact that the sequels would have had to ignore all of this stuff. Can we just forget that they exist? Because it bottlenecks the show, right? You can't have Thrawn come back if we're saying the sequels are canon and I remember them.
Right, because Thrawn's not in the sequels, and
there's no mention of him. There's no mention of War. So as long as
of Ezra,
as long as we ignore those things, I think that this show can breathe and flesh itself out.
Yes,
and I can get Thrawn, who I'm excited, because Thrawn's really sweet. I got some books you could read. He's like Moriarty, but better.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. We've seen him in the trailer. It doesn't really look like he only comes back at the end where he just shows up with his whole fleet. Unless we're just seeing a scene of him in the other galaxy, I don't know.
Or a flashback. Awful it'd be if it's just a flashback.
Yeah, that would suck. But I think we're getting multiple seasons of Ahsoka, so we have to factor that in. I do feel I'm preparing myself for this being a tease season, to be perfectly honest. I think
Why
it's
would
going
you
to
do that
focus
though? Because like where Star Wars is right now. It's in a
because they
lull.
want
You
to
need
do
something strong.
They want to bring everything together like Avengers, Joe. They're trying to lead into a mass battle. Do you honestly think that this series is going to bring fucking Thrawn in episode 3? They're going to have a massive battle in episode 4
Well, how
and
many
5,
episodes is- or
and
how
it's
many
going to be resolved by the end of season 1. You know that's not
Well,
the
yeah,
case.
it's not going to be resolved.
Well,
of
yeah,
course,
I'm just
but
worried there's going to be no battle, and they're just going to
Yeah.
resolve this by not letting him come back.
How
Well,
many
I don't
episodes
think
is
there's
first
going to be a
season?
battle in this. I don't think there's going to be a fleet battle with Thrawn. I think they would save that for the movie. I do think Thrawn would come through. And here's what I think. It is going to be a resolution of these Dark Jedi. They're going to resolve that. And maybe Balin. I really, really want Balin to be a part of this more. But I think Balin's going to be a season 1 thing. You know? And I'm really saddened by this actor's passing.
Yeah, Ray
'cause
Stevenson.
I don't know if his role has already been completed, but I wish that we could see more of this character, who I'm already intrigued by. But I feel like season 1 will wrap up him and the thing. That's the season 1 thing. And then season 2 is like full-on Thrawn, and he's the major in that. Because for somebody like Thrawn, they want to focus an entire season on him. And this is not going to be that. So I'm already prepared for that, but we just need to get it done correctly.
Hopefully. Yeah, we'll see.
I'm trying to see if there's any news on additional seasons.
So we know he's for sure getting his own movie. Filoni's getting his own movie.
Yeah. That was announced, but I don't know if we want to call it for sure because
Oh, yeah.
Kathleen Kennedy announced so many fucking things, and they've all dissipated and disappeared and pulled the plugs on. So I don't
There's
really
a new CEO again, so
know. Yeah. So one of these episodes is going to be less than 30 minutes long. I was really pissed when I learned that. It was either episode 3 or episode 4. I think it's episode 3. And if you look here, episode 2 and 3 were directed by Steph Green. So that's probably a 2-parter that they just split because they thought that the first 2 episodes were a good tasting menu, and then the rest is that. So I think episode 3 is going to be disappointing, and that's probably where my rating will drop off, and then hopefully the rest can go up because we have Dave Filoni writes the whole thing all the way through. So Steph Green directs the next one, Peter Ramsey the next one, Dave Filoni episode 5. So that's when I think probably we're gonna see Thrawn in episode 5. This is mine. And in Ahsoka versus Thrawn or something. I don't know. And then Jennifer Getzinger, and then Geta Patel, and then Rick Famuyiwa, who has done
a bunch of disappointing Mandalorian episodes recently.
He did one good one, but some disappointing ones, yeah. All right, well, that's it. We went into massive detail on that, mainly because I am excited. I think Good Star Wars is back. It's an hour and 22 minutes. I'm going to break this into 2 videos. So you'll get the non-spoilers, and then you'll get the episode breakdown. So we gave the ratings, right?
Yes.
9s for me and 7s for y'all. That makes sense. I think.
Yeah, again,
my optimism
you've seen the 4 seasons and then
exactly.
Rebel.
Exactly. Being a fan of Rebels. If you're not a fan of Rebels, I can see you going 7, 6, even if you hate Rebels. Like fuck these
It's still a
characters.
good watch.
I don't want these characters to move the Star Wars universe forward. I want Grogu.
I was so mad when someone told me what happened at the end of Rebels. I was so fucking mad because they made up this Jedi, and they're like he takes Thrawn out, and I was like, no, I hate that. So
that's why you didn't watch the rest of this season.
Well, I found out way after I decided not to watch the rest of them.
That was just like
that was
final
more a result of God damn it, George Lucas. I need to fucking figure out because this all comes to here, and I need to figure out a way to do this. And so it's like, well, if I can't have Ezra in these, I got to take Ezra and I got to take Thrawn out. And we'll deal with it later. And now we're dealing with it. So all right, we'll see if they deal with it well or if they deal with it bad. We'll see you guys on the next Angry Joe show. Bye, guys.